My name is Danielle, and this is Trying Matters. If you're looking for a no BS type podcast, this is it. I'm here to help make life fun and interesting and learn right alongside you how to be brave enough to go against the grain. Here, we'll be talking about real challenges and fears that are holding us women back from living our lives to the fullest. So let's shake things up a bit and actually start trying. Hello and welcome back to Trying Matters. Today, we are talking about graduation. No. Not really, but because it is graduation season, if you're listening to this at the time I'm recording it, it is May, which is college graduation, high school graduation, maybe even a little kindergarten graduation here and there. And I actually just went to my little sister's graduation from high school. And we went to the same high school. So, very like full circle moment yet again. This is my second time going to a graduation for my high school for one of my sisters. So, we still have one more to go. It's very exciting tradition. I love good traditions. But being there yesterday, I just had this like resurgence of like how I felt the day that I graduated high school and how I felt all throughout high school. And then when I graduated college, and then when I graduated with my master's. And it just had me thinking all these things. And I was like, you know what? I am going to talk about this on the podcast because honestly, this is one of the topics that I've touched on many of times in previous episodes, but it's just really echoing a whole lot because of the relevance of it right now. So we're gonna jump into it. So the reason why I'm saying like this isn't really about graduation, it's more about the whole concept of like new beginnings. So I want you to like stop and think back if you are a high school graduate or a college graduate or whatever graduation or big moment like this where you had a new beginning. It doesn't have to be a graduation. Um, that new beginning or like that transition into another step or phase in your life where you've known this one type of this system of living that you've had, and now you're transitioning into another phase, and the rules and regulations of how things used to go are just not as restrictive. You have more freedom. And with that freedom comes a lot of great things. And then it also brings in a whole lot of new challenges in addition to like a whole bunch of new scary things. So think about a moment that's kind of like that. So my example throughout this will probably be graduation. Um, but I I think about this one, and this is such a heavy topic for me because I have younger sisters, and I feel like I just graduated high school yesterday, and it's actually been 10 years, which is mind-blowing to me. So how I currently feel, how I did feel in that moment, and then now watching yet again another one of my sisters go through this process, I'm like, oh my gosh, you have no idea all of the great things that are to come. The world is your oyster. Not that it wasn't when you were in high school, but that's the first big step in adulthood, Like, you don't have to go to school. You don't have to go to college. You don't have to get a job right away. Like, you technically are the only one that's making the rules of how your life is going to go, which is so awesome. And like I said, it is scary too. But I look at all of these graduates and especially my sister, and I'm like, there's so many exciting things. Like, you have only known like get up, go to school, do your after school activities, come home, do homework, go to bed. Like, there's a little bit of fun stuff here and there, but like, oh my gosh, this is where you start defining who you are as a person, as an adult. Isn't that just crazy? Like, you're just like, all right, you're 17 or you're 18, and they're like, all right, you now have full control over the track that your life goes on from here on out. Because now there's nobody to tell you, like, hey, you have to get up and you have to clean your room, and I'm making this for dinner. And if you don't want it, then so be it. Or, you have to go to pick up your sibling from practice or something. Like, you don't have anybody really telling you what to do. You can decide, do I want to do that or do I not? But the other crazy thing to me is we're 17, 18, around that range when we graduate from high school. And there are people who expect us to know exactly what we want to do with our life and what trajectory we want it to go on. There was a girl who I know from high school who recently graduated, I think, with her degree in to become a nurse anesthetist. That one's hard. That one's one of those hard words. Put it in there, in the bucket of hard words. But she had posted from our yearbook, and it was like, her goals for her life were to be a wife and a mother, and that was one of her goals on there. And she, after all these years, because it takes a lot of time to get that degree, she hit that goal. But you go to graduate and they put that kind of stuff in your yearbook, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And at age 18, you're supposed to say, I want to be an engineer, or I want to be a speech language pathologist, or I want to be a doctor. And you start the school path for that. Yet again, we went through all these years of school, and now guess what? You're going to college and you're going to get that degree. And everyone just expects you to do that. And then if you don't know, they look at you like you're crazy. Like, what do you mean you don't know? Why don't you know? And I'm sorry. But at age 18, okay, our brains not fully developed. Okay, we know how to like problem solve, we know how to make some big decisions, but like, you want an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old to say, hey, right now at this current moment, I'm going to plan what I'm going to do for my job until I die. Can we just like kind of laugh at that for a second? Because luckily for me, I had a career day at my high school for 3 years. So like they know, like, you're not going to figure it out after going one career day and seeing 4 jobs. Like, no, they gave us 3 years to go to 4 different professions and listen to them talk about their experiences in their field and whatever. That's how I figured out I wanted to do what I wanted to do. But I went through the contemplation of, do I want to do something that's fun and maybe less quote unquote realistic, or do I want to do something that's probably going to be fulfilling, but it's safe no matter what? I have job security. It's a solid career choice. So I was always going back and forth with that. But I think it's funny that at we started this whole process of trying to figure out our careers when we were 10th graders. So you're like, what, 15 in 10th grade? Yeah. And they're already starting to ask you, where do you want to go to college? What do you want to do? And you're like, I don't know. I want to make it through sophomore year of high school, junior year of high school, senior year of high school, whatever it may be. And they're asking. And then they expect you to have it figured out by the time you walk across that stage, walk out of that school and on to your next step. And I get it, because at that point you're an adult and you got to make the rules for yourself. You got to make the decision on what you're going to do and kind of start laying out a plan, or else you may just be in limbo for a while. But the thing that I think is even funnier with this is like, okay, you expect this 18-year-old, this 17-year-old to make a decision on what their career path is going to be so that they can go to school for it. Or some people don't need to go to school for whatever their career path is. Um, and you expect them to like get started on that like instantly. But like, why? And I get it, because it's like, you don't want people to just be in limbo for too long. But is it bad if we like sit and think about it and like contemplate for a little while, like what we truly want to do? Because now me at high school age, me, 18-year-old, 17-year-old, actually when I graduated, I was 17. 17-year-old me I was like, no, I have to go to college and I have to get a degree in this and I have to do it in 4 years, which again is funny because we have this like, at least my environment and being a woman and being competitive snaps if you are competitive, snaps if you are that woman that starts doing the comparison game every time you walk in a room and you try to like boost your ego sometimes. Like we all do it. If that's you, snaps. If you're listening to this on your walk, throw a little snap in there. But we have this competition and this like, I have to do X, Y, and Z this way because that's what everybody is expecting of me. We have this external pressure. Now, there are some people who are just so passionate and driven that they're like, no, I cannot wait to be whatever, insert whatever job. Okay, I'm just going to use my profession. I cannot wait to be an SLP. I am ready to work with the children. At that point, I wanted to work with kids. I laugh at that now because now I don't want to work with children. I love my adults. But I'm like, some people are like that. They're the go-getter who's like, I'm ready to be done with school. I want to be in my profession. Like, I want to start doing that now. And the sooner I can jump in and get this work out of the way, I'm in for it. And then there's those others of us that are like, ugh, can I think about this for a second? Like, I fully expected myself to change my major and I did not. I was pretty solid in it. But there were some times after graduating that I was just kind of like, I really just made that whole decision was like blinders on, let's go. And what I found also was kind of interesting was in the process, if you ended up, having like a bad semester, people would be like, oh no, you were supposed to do that in 4 years. And now you're a fifth year senior. You must not be smart. Or like, oh, you must have had a rough go at it. And like sometimes that's the conversation around it when it's just like, maybe she just really didn't know what she wanted to do. And she like had a little malfunction there where she was like midlife crisis, not midlife obviously, but like, am I supposed to be doing this? Am I called to do this? Or, sometimes it does get hard because you're thrown into adulthood. And then if you're on the college pathway, it's like, oh, there's a lot of other things that we've introduced here. Like I have to pay bills. I have to support myself like financially. Sometimes there's those people out there, snap if that's you, where you had to pay for school yourself and you had to work while you were in college. Us hardworking gals. Nothing against the people who had help. Love that you had help. But it's a whole new experience. And like if you get off track, there's like that pressure from the outside where it's like, oh, you were supposed to like have it all together and you don't. And you're like, oh, so now I've failed. Or now there's people judging me or looking at me funny because I didn't do it the way that somebody else did. And I had more of a struggle in this area than somebody else did. So it's just it's wild to me. And we kind of define our success around that personally and then like externally. Like there's people who define that as success. You finish in 4 years your degree. Well, shoot, you are successful. You went straight from high school to college, got your degree, and now you're on to getting your postgraduate degree. And you are just boom, 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 success, success, success. And what I also find with that is like, we have to be successful in getting the degree quickly, or be successful in picking the career path, or going to the right school, or getting the most prestigious job. And there's that competitive nature that I just remembered when I was sitting in graduation yesterday. I'm like, I remember being like, oh, I got to make sure I go to a good school. And then when I didn't go to like what everyone else considered the good school, I was constantly feeling like I had to like amp it up and be like, well, I'm still really up there in the rankings, even though your definition of success is now my definition of success. And I feel like I'm failing by going to this school or choosing this career path. Um, and that's just icky. And it's like you're 18, like, or you're 21 and you're in college and you're like, oh, but my degree is subpar because I didn't go to this big name school. Or I chose to get a degree in XYZ and I'm not becoming a doctor or a lawyer, like all these people. There's a competitive nature there. And then you're defining your success based off of their criteria or like somebody else's comment that they made to you. And you're like, oh, no. And that's just, no, we don't like that. So I'm getting to a point here. Just give me a second. So what I want to get at here is you have this brand new beginning. You're making these decisions, and like, what are you defining as your success? And what are you motivated by? Like, are you motivated by safety, and that's why you made the decision to go to school and pick this safe career choice like I did? Are you motivated by to choose whatever path you're choosing because you want money or you want status? I have a lot of conversations with people, and it's like, oh, well, what, like my other little sister, she says, I am going to finish nursing school and then I'm going to, practice for a while and then I'm going to get a DNP because I want to be doctor, because you and our other older sister, y'all just have master's degrees. So I'm going to get a doctorate. And if you're listening to this, haha, I'm calling you out. But like, what is your true motivator there? Is it just to one up us, or do you actually want that degree? Do you actually want that job? And I feel like a lot of times we pick stuff, you're straight out of high school or you're straight out of college and like you don't know what to do, because sometimes that after college limbo, that's another one that's really weird too. If you're not jumping into a job that's like pretty straightforward or has like another degree with it, it's kind of like, oh shoot, now I've like prolonged my limbo after high school, and now I'm in limbo with college after finishing college. It's like, but what are we defining as our success with that? Like, did we find something that we truly want to do, or are we just doing it for the status of it, to one up somebody, and the competitive nature of it? Are we picking something because it's easy, but we don't truly love it? And are we picking something because it's what somebody told us to do? LOL, that's kind of what my dad did. Somebody was like, hey, you like to like tinker with things? You should do this. And he said, okay, I'll do it. He ended up really liking it, so it worked out. But like, why are we choosing the things that we're doing? And what are we defining our success as? So what I was getting at earlier with, I was sitting in that room and I was remembering, doing the comparison game, like, oh, well, she's going to this big name school. Oh, she's going to school to be a doctor. I'm just going to be a speech therapist. Okay. None of that. Like, that doesn't mean success. Oh, she's going to be a lawyer. She's going to make bank. But do I want to be a lawyer? I don't care that she's going to make bank. I do not want to read as much as lawyers do. And I do not want to put in that much time into like researching and digging and like being a detective, essentially. Like, no, I don't care how much money you're going to make. I'm not motivated by that. And I'm not going to define my success for that. That person, if they truly love what lawyers do, or that person, if they truly love what doctors do, and that is what they're passionate about, and they're not just doing it for the status, then kudos to you. You are passionate about what you do. You love it. You went after it. But me, as somebody who is not that, I can't define my success based off of what that person did, where that person went to school, what their career choice is, how much money they make. That's not going to keep me motivated. And there are some people who are motivated by that, but like, what are you passionate about? How are you defining your version of success? And that's why I think I've talked about this before, the your version. That's what I'm emphasizing, the your, because on the outside, everybody kind of pushes you to, get the job or go to the school and stay on that pathway of like, I have it all figured out. This is what it's going to be. I'm not going to deviate from this plan. And if I do, I have failed. No. You need to figure out what your version of success is within those parameters or within your own parameters. For example, I used to think that becoming a speech language pathologist in the medical field was superior. And boy, did I get pushed off my high horse when I graduated and I did not get a job in the medical field. And I had to work in a school, which was the last place that I wanted to work. And in my mind, I thought that that was bottom of the barrel speech therapists. I was like, nope, I am too good to work in a school. I will not take a job in a school. Well, let me tell you, I needed a job out of school, and it was COVID. And guess who took a school position? And guess who learned just how difficult it was to be a school-based speech therapist? You have no idea about what school-based speech therapists do. Let me tell you, their caseloads are out of this world. The amount of people that they have to keep track of and the meetings, and then they're expected to do good quality therapy with unrealistic time constraints. That's a whole nother episode in and of itself, but oh my gosh, that is not bottom of the barrel SLPs. And me working in a hospital does not give me a leg up or this level of prestige that I thought it did. Being a school-based SLP was just as hard as being a medical-based SLP. And if you don't agree with that and you've only worked in one or the other, it's time for you to get off your high horse. You don't know what the other person does. We'll throw that in there. That's my little toot toot your own horn kind of thing. I used to think that money was like the thing. I would be like, oh, I'm making this much money, or oh, when I get to this job, I'm gonna be making this much money and I'm gonna be successful. And I also thought like, oh, I'm gonna make more money than my husband. I'm gonna be the breadwinner. Success. That does not mean that I'm successful. I make what I make. That is what it is. Do I get raises? Yes. Do I get compensated fairly for what I do? Yes. Do I wish I made more after going to 6 years of school? Yes. But I'm not using how much money I make to define how successful I am, because that's just silly. I mean, there are people who have endless amounts of money, but they are miserable because they have to work so much, or because they're constantly chasing the next big thing and they can't slow down and just be. And that's not success in my book. Personally, that may be success for you because you work well like that, or that's something that you are drawn to. But the reason that it's not for me, and that won't be my criteria for success, is because I I don't want a job where I have to be present all hours, even when I'm not on the clock, and I have to constantly be looking for the next big thing. And like, that's not me. I don't want that. So I'm not going to use my money as my equivalent for success. Now I have created my own definition of success, because I was going with all of these like prestige and comparison and competition and money that I make and all of these things. And I realized that I wasn't happy. And at the end of the day, I want to do something that makes me happy. I want to do something that truly brings me joy. So now my definition of success is putting my best attitude forward. I've learned over the years that I don't feel successful if I'm being a jerk to people. So I've had to learn how to make sure I put my best foot forward, and that's, taking care of my body, my mind, all of that. I have changed my view on success, including the how I show up in my relationships. That's something, if I'm showing up really well in my relationships, I feel successful. And if I'm pushing myself to improve and grow, I feel successful. If I feel stagnant, I don't feel successful. But that's my new criteria of success. And the reason why I'm talking about this within the whole graduation and new beginnings, transitions type feel is, if we're focusing on things that other people are considering criteria for success, or we're being competitive with people that we're never going to see again, or we are trying to one up, or whatever it may be, we're not living for ourselves, we're living for them. And at the end of the day, you go to sleep with you and only you every single day. You are present with yourself all hours of the day, all hours of the night, all of that. So why are we going to use somebody else's criteria? And like I was talking about earlier too, with that big step of, okay, now I'm an adult, and going back to the graduation analogy here, I want people to understand that it's okay to change your mind, and it's okay to not have it figured out. Though another big reason why I wanted to talk about this, and I do feel like I'm going all over the place, so I'm trying to bring it all in here, but my cousins are also graduating this year. And one of them is like, nope, I'm doing this. I'm going to this school. I got to figure it out. And then the other one, he was saying like, I don't really know what I want to do. I'm going to go and sign up with this major, and I'll see if I stick with it, and I'll see if this is even really what I want for my life. And my aunt was like, is that normal? Because she's so used to her other two kids who were like, nope, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm doing it, and it's gonna be done in this amount of time. Like boom, 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 boom. And she's like, he doesn't know what he wants to do. He didn't know where he wanted to go. Like, this is odd. I'm not used to this. And I was like, no, that's perfectly normal. And then I started having the conversation with her and with my uncle. I'm like, we're at 18. We're expected to figure out what our life is going to be and to figure out the plan for it and to do it in this amount of time. And if we change, then it's looked at as, oh no, that's not good. Or if we take a pause, oh no, that's not good. What is your life going to amount to? And I'm sure as a parent, that is scary. But also, like, can we just normalize the fact that an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old shouldn't have it all figured out? And if they're trying to figure it out and they're taking steps towards it, that's a good thing. Not, oh my gosh, you're not there yet. What's wrong with you? But, oh my gosh, you're trying to figure it out. How can I help you? How can I help you get to where you want to go or help you get in that direction of where you think this could be helpful to what your future may or may not be? Like, it's okay for us to change our minds. Even me, as a 28-year-old speech language pathologist, I don't think I'm going to be a speech language pathologist my whole life. I truly don't believe that in my bones. And that should be okay. So in my mind, I'm going to start telling myself that that's okay, because it is. It's okay to change your mind. Back in the day, it was totally frowned upon for you to like not be in a job for multiple years and, work your way up. There's no way for me to necessarily work my way up in my profession unless I decided to become a manager of a department. And I know right now that I don't want that. I don't care how much success that looks like to other people. I don't care how much prestige it puts on me. It also puts a whole lot more responsibility on me that I don't want. What I want is a job that's fulfilling and that I love. Right now, what I do, it is fulfilling. There are things that I don't like about it, and that does come with the territory with any job. There's responsibilities and things that we just don't like. But for the most part, I do like what I do. Do I think I'm going to do that forever, though? No. And that's another thing. Change your mind at that point in your life. It's okay. And it's scary to do. I have a friend who wants to go back to get her master's degree. And she's gone back and forth, but she's made this informed decision that this is truly what she wants to do with the next phase of her life. She's kind of changing her mind. And it's okay. It's going to take a lot of work and it's going to be hard, but it's okay. Going for the scary. That's what we just talked about. Okay. And it's okay for all of you college students who are about to embark on your college journey, if you're listening to this, and I hope some of you are, or maybe you're people who are in college who are struggling right now. It's okay for you to not do it in 4 years. It's totally normal. If you were just effing around doing some silly things and you are just not in it, like, really evaluate that, because you don't want to waste time and money. Figure it out, but like, maybe take a break. That way you're not paying for something and then like flunking out a whole lot of times. Just a thought. But if it is something that you really want to do and like you have to like take a little bit more time, it's okay to do that. Nobody's making that criteria that you have to be done in 4 years. Is that what it's typically supposed to be? Yes. But if you get it done in 4 years and a semester, that's okay. That doesn't mean that you failed. That doesn't mean that you've fucked up. Like you haven't. You're human. There was a reason. Shit happens. Pick up your bootstraps. Onward, friends. And how I'm gonna just tie this up, because I do feel like I kind of went all over the place. I apologize. Y'all know my little ADD brain be going all over. But what I'm really trying to get at is, if you didn't know then, or you did what you did and now you're in this position and you don't know what the next step is, your future is your future. Okay? What you choose to do with it is a choice. When you say yes to something, you're saying no to another thing. But it's laying the foundation for the path that you are going to go on. Whether or not that path changes, it's okay. But there's always going to be a future. So what do you want that future to be? If you want a fresh start and you said, you know what, this career path, I'm done with it. I don't want to do it anymore. Tell it bye-bye. Make sure it's an informed decision. there's the balloons again. Yay. If you're watching on YouTube, there's balloons. I don't know how it keeps happening. But anyway, there's always going to be a future. So if you don't like what you're doing now, figure out what that something is that really is going to drive you and bring you joy in your life. Because yes, there are parts that we're not going to like no matter what we do, but like what you're at your job 9-8 hours a day, it's a majority of your lifetime. If you don't love what you do, what are you doing with your life? Like you don't enjoy 90% or 80%, whatever. I don't know. I don't math. Okay. So all you math people don't come at me, but a majority of your days and a majority of your hours and a majority of your life is wasted on something that you hate. And I know some people you gotta sacrifice and you gotta do what you gotta do for your family, but like, what sacrifice are you willing to make? What are you willing to say yes to and to say no to truly bring you the ultimate joy in your life? What is that motivator? What is that driving factor? What is your definition of success, no matter what aspect you're at in life? That brand new, fresh beginning, or you just need a new beginning? Where are you at? What are your motivators? What is truly going to bring you joy in life? And know that it is okay to change your mind. It's okay to pivot and do what you got to do. You have to do what lights you up. Even if it's scary, even if sometimes it's a little risky, you got to do it. So that's what I got. I really don't know if any of that made sense. I hope you bared with me for that. At the end of the day, this is truly for those people who are at this point where you're like, all right, new beginning. Who am I going to be? What is this life going to bring me? What is this life going to be? The world truly is your oyster. Go for it. Don't hold back because you're scared. You don't want to have the regret. Trying truly matters. Always, y'all know I'll say it till I'm purple in the face. But there's just so many opportunities out there. There's so many ways that your life can go. If you're at that brand new start, freaking go for it. Balls to the wall. Let's go. Okay. And I think we're probably going to start talking about some of those scary things and those scary moves. So if you've listened all the way to this point, get ready because I think we're about to pivot and I'm going to try something new because fresh new beginnings have me excited. So excited for my little sister. So excited for all of you people who just recently graduated. Congratulations. You have now closed another chapter of your life and you're opening a brand new one. And there's nothing more exciting than that. So go out there and make your life what you want it to be and what you are truly passionate about and do what brings you joy. And if it doesn't, deuce out and get you something else. Okay. Till next time, I love you guys. Thank you for listening and or watching. Share this with the people if you love it. If you don't love it, tell me what you would love. Let me know what you're thinking about and what you want to hear about. Bye. For real this time. Okay. Thank you so much for listening in. I hope you got a little inspiration to start taking steps towards whatever it is you've been wanting to try. If you love this episode, share it on socials and tag me. I'd love to hear how it helped you. And of course, we got to get the word out to the other women who are needing that little extra push like you and I do. Can't wait to talk to you soon.